taken in detention, in ungazetted places of detention. Many of them ended up before the unit disciplinary committees of UPDF, others before the division's court martial, others before the general court martial. Like I said, we still have 18 missing persons. But even after the election, we have recorded a total of 143 people who have so far been abducted. But these are people who we get to know about. Every time a person comes back from either CMI or wherever they hold them, they will tell you that they found so many other people there who we never get to know about. Bright Mhumza the other day told us that he was taken to a room where there were more than 500 people. And he said majority of these are Muslims. You can't know where they're coming from. You talk to some of them, they say they've been in detention for 9 years, for 10 years, and that kind of thing. Now, those recently abducted, of course, we have Eddie Mutwe, we have Shakul Sentongo, Chagulanyi Najib, Sebude Kasim, Palanyi Michael, who is also known as Infantry. So these 6 are still missing as we speak today. The number of those arrested since 2021, the ones our human rights desk has recorded, is 272. And we must draw a distinction between abductions and arrests. Abductions, we look at them to mean these ones which are done completely outside the law, where people are, first of all, picked up, taken to places not gazetted by law, kept there longer than 48 hours. So those are the categories we look at as abductions. But the 272 I'm talking about are those who have been taken through due process, arrested, taken through courts of law, charged, etc., etc. Maybe get out on bail, etc. As we speak, we still have over 100 people in detention, in different detention centers, and we always don't give a specific number because almost on a daily basis, you have new numbers being arrested and other people being released. So it always, the number is always changing, but as we know right now, we have slightly over 100 people who are in detention, including people at Chitalia, those who are at Luzira Upper Prison, Makshon Bay, and other prisons like Chitala, a prison in Impiji, and other places. The other day, our comrade was arrested in Chisoro, another one in Ruchiga, another one in Bushenyi, you remember Mbabazi Pase, and all that. So these are the kinds of cases I'm talking about. Now, I also wanted to mention that we still have close to 300 children who need help because either their parents are in prison, maybe their parents are missing, maybe their parents were killed, and of course those who have been tortured and damaged in one way or the other. So that is the situation I can give you. Like I said, and I want to appreciate our legal team. You can see that from the election, those who were able to document were over 2,000 people, and the legal team has been working very hard to secure bail, in some cases secure bond. Of course, some are always just dumped somewhere in the swamp after 3 weeks. Right now, what the regime normally does is not even to give these people any form. When they abduct them and take them to CMI, subject them to torture and all that, when the time comes and they feel like releasing them, they just say, you go, without giving them any single document. And that started after the Masereka situation. You remember Masereka was our registrar in Kasese, and he was very, very badly tortured. And then they gave him a bond form, and the charge was subversive activities, which is even non-existent. And of course, we went to court. The case took so long, but eventually the court decided that case in favor of Masereka, of the victim. Of course, the court awarded very little money, 30 million shillings as compensation, but at least there was a declaration of the High Court clearly saying that he had been under the custody of CMI and they're the ones who tortured him. So from that time, they stopped giving any document for any victim to prove that this person is in their custody. And so that has been the situation with very, very many of our comrades who are picked from around the country, from Yumbe, from Arua, from Fort Porto, and other parts of the country. So, Andrew, that's the picture I can paint for you.
Okay, much appreciated. We will soon hear from lawyers like Benjamin Katana, who've done a splendid job insofar as the legal response is concerned. However, I have received a lot of feedback from the audience that they were not able to hear what Honorable Chagulanyi was saying. So, Mr. Chagulanyi, I'm going to request you to unmute, and unfortunately, you have to restate your first answer to the question that we posed. Yes. Okay. And sure. And I'll just check to see who can hear the president right now. If you heard what Honorable Chagulanyi said in the last few seconds, please give us a thumbs up. Okay. It appears there's a challenge. Yeah, I can hear you myself.
I can also hear.
Yeah, but the audience cannot.
And I can hear him as well. So I believe maybe many people are hearing him right now.
I'm actually.
Maybe you can mute a random person and find out if they can hear.
On my screen right now, there's a lot of thumbs down. People saying we can't hear him. Okay, let's do a mic check. Honorable Chagulanyi. If you can hear Honorable Chagulanyi, please give us a thumbs up. No, they can't.
Hello, Karamaji. Why don't you take it on from there? Please, Marvin, make Karamaji a speaker. The criminals, of course, are targeting all these spaces we're starting, but I believe we should be able to continue on this.
Do we know the
And
Karamaji's?
Karamaji is up there. Just turn him into a speaker.
Okay, thank you.
Karamaji and Judith Nalukwago.
Very well. Please confirm that you can hear me.
Karamaji, I see you're a speaker. Could you please take it on from there?
Can you hear me now? I am speaking, David Lewis. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear.
Very well.
I can
Excellent.
hear you too.
So we've lost.
I hope you can hear me.
Yeah, the shameless people have had us lose about 49 minutes out of the 90 that we had prepared to speak for. But we will nonetheless proceed in the spirit of citizen power or people power and make sure that this conversation is held, come hell or high waters. We will proceed with this conversation. I'd like to appreciate the resilience of our production team and you in the audience who have insisted to listen and join each space that we've held despite the disruptions. So instead of reverting to the conversation that we had earlier, I will give a summary in 1 minute. I will endeavor to be under 1 minute of what has been discussed in the previous attempts, and then we will get the rest of the questions that are pending posed and open the floor for the audience to join. As I said earlier, each speaker, each participant will have just 1 minute to share their thoughts, and then we'll get back to the panel. So we started off by asking what the human rights situation in the country is at the moment, and we got an update about the ongoing spate of abductions, the assaults, the disappearances, and extrajudicial killings. None of this is breaking news. It is always in our faces on social, mainstream, and print media. We very well know about this. And that answer was given by Honorable Chagulanyi. We then heard a response from David Lewis Rongoya regarding the numbers in terms of the abductees, the detainees, torture victims, the disappeared, and the dead. Cumulatively, those numbers amounted to over 2,000 people, with the timeline starting or stretching as far back as 2020. We have a number of people who have been detained both in gazetted and ungazetted locations without trial. We also have a legal team that has been handling these issues. And as I now invite one of the lead lawyers in this matter, Benjamin Katana, to give us a brief on what has been happening on the legal front, I request that he be made a speaker. We will also thereafter hear from family members, affected family members, as well as individuals who have borne the brunt of being held in torture chambers without trial, but fortunately have been released, albeit with grave injuries to themselves. So may we have Benjamin Katana address us on the issue pertaining to the legal front, what has gone on there. And after we hear from the affected family members or individuals, we will open the space to the public. Over to you
If
in
you will
product.
permit,
Yes.
if I may ask, if I may request,
Yes, please go ahead.
thank you very much, Andrew, for permitting my interjection. Just before the criminals interrupted our network, you had
Yes.
asked me to reiterate my answer since many people did not get to hear me. So,
Yes, please.
with your permission, I could use just a minute or two.
Perfectly. Please use 3.
Thank you very much. Well, just to reassert it that we are without a doubt in a reign of terror. Leave alone what has been happening under closed doors and in concealment, where so many people have been abducted, killed. But this, at least, the regime has had the decency to conceal it, and you can give it to General Museveni. But what we have is a fully blown out reign of terror, where General Museveni's son has absolute unchecked powers to abduct, torture, and kill people. This happened to the likes of Kakwenza and others. It happened to so many people that were personally tortured by Mohozi, but there was no, you know, acceptance by himself that he's the one who did it. But we are in a time where he tortures our people and brags. Case in point is the ongoing torture of Eddie Mutwe, who's abducted. We used to hear that Idi Amin and Obote regimes were gross human rights abusers, but this we are seeing in real time. As we speak right now, our brother could be undergoing torture if he's still alive. This is a situation that calls for the attention and action of every Ugandan. And man, I must conclude by saying that we are not approaching this matter as the National Unity Platform alone, but as human beings, as Ugandans, because every Ugandan is at risk of this. I thought I should make it very clear. Thank you very much, Andrew.
Very well. Very well said, Honorable Chagulanyi. Thank you for that update. I wonder whether Lewis might have anything to add in that respect to the articulate brief that the president has made before we hear from Benjamin Katana. I request the production team once again to make Benjamin Katana a speaker so that we can hear from what has been going on the legal front.
Yeah, Comrade Karamaji, I'm failing to identify Comrade Katana. If you could request, that would be really good. Thank you.
Okay, Benjamin, if you can hear, please push the request button and my colleague in production will help put you up. Is my co-host Dr. Judith Nalukwago here? If she is, I'd
Yes, I
like.
am here.
Great, good to have you. So, okay, Benjamin has requested. Please allow him. Okay, go ahead, Benjamin. What has happened on the legal front? Have we exhausted all options? What's the state of play? Over to you, Mr. Katana.
Thank you very much, Andrew. Thank you very much, everyone who has joined this space, the solidarity space, with our brother Eddie Mutwe, who is in illegal detention and probably undergoing a lot of torture, just like the pictures we have seen suggest. The starting point is that we are dealing with a government that has descended into a criminal enterprise, and therefore rule of law is a far cry. We have had court orders ignored. The other day, the Human Rights Commission issued a release order in respect to our detained brother Eddie Mutwe, but to date it has been ignored by the army and particularly the Chief of Defense Forces, who has confessed as having him in his basement. Similarly, we have had so many court orders, habeas corpus orders, unconditional release orders ignored. Our approach has been that the only solution to oppression is resistance. And while I have been asked to speak as a lawyer, I would want to emphasize generally that this is not in respect to lawyers, but to everyone that is involved in this fight for the restoration of rule of law in our country. That 50 years ago, at the height of the operations of State Research Bureau and other agencies, Ugandans sat in different rooms to discuss how to resist and overcome a brutal and killer regime that the regime of the day had become. Today we are meeting here, and probably we should meet in several other places to make sure that we all put in effort to make sure that we bring an end to this brutal rule. So our approach has been to use the spaces available in courts of law and other agencies. In the case of Mutwe, we have filed for a writ of habeas corpus. We are yet to get the order from court, just like we have filed for several other people. The Secretary General talked about the case of Masereka, but they talked about the case of the missing persons, talked about the various people who were abducted during the 2021 presidential elections, and several other Ugandans that have been illegally arrested, abducted, and detained since around 2019. Our approach has been to make sure that for every person whose information comes to our attention, we file applications in court for habeas corpus, for unconditional release, and things of that nature. Many times we have had cases drag on. Many times we have had cases not being fixed. Many times we have had court orders given and ignored, especially by the security forces, which is not strange considering the criminal enterprise that we are dealing with that the NRM government has become. My call to the people on this space is that we must organize. Those who are able to go to court like we are doing should go to court. Those who are able to organize in their different places of operation must organize so that we build pressure, disempower the regime, so that it can give in to the demands of the people of Uganda. Where the courts of law we are doing, there are even efforts at international level. You remember the complaint we filed with the ICC and several others. So yes, the legal approaches, the approaches that are aimed at getting legal solutions are being undertaken, but these must be supplemented by political activism that will build the necessary pressure on the regime to even let the institutions like courts and Uganda Human Rights Commission and others that we have mentioned to be able to exercise their mandate under the Constitution to give orders, but even when these orders have been given, to give them life, because it's one thing to have orders from courts of law, it's another for these orders to be meaningful. What does it help if a person being detained, even when an order is issued, this person, the order is ignored, the person remains in detention, the family has no idea where this person is, and then you have a court order. It more or less becomes useless. So we must be able to build sufficient pressure from wherever we are standing so that the regime can let these institutions be independent, exercise their mandate. When they issue orders, let these orders be respected so that the rights of the citizens of Uganda can be respected regardless of where they stand politically.
Great. We appreciate you, Benjamin, for that elaborate update. And I thank you also I take note of you saying that this is beyond just a legal question. It is political. It requires the participation of citizens, even beyond what the laws and court processes come with. At this point, we'd like to put a human face to this discussion that we're having, and I will request in the following order, Shifra, who is with Eddie Mutwe's mother, to give her the mic so that she can share with us about the ordeal that the family is going through. We will then hear from Kavuma Jamshid, who is a previous victim of torture, who underwent a very grisly ordeal that was subjected to him. And then we'll hear from Judith, who's the wife to Damulira, who has been missing since 2020. We will also hear from Ajmaru, who is with the mother of Kasim Sebude, who was detained alongside Eddie Mutwe. So the first person would like to call and request our colleagues in production is Shifra, who is here. Please make Shifra a speaker so that we can hear from Eddie Mutwe's mother. And for the benefit of, do we have Shifra here?
Yeah, she's there. I'm trying to connect her, but...
Are you physically proximate with her? Are you where she is?
No, I'm not where she is. I'm trying to connect her account. But...
No, Shifra has requested to be a speaker, so they should just allow her. Shifra Lukundo. She has already requested to be a speaker.
Okay. There's thousands of requests, so I hope the production can sift through and find Shifra. As soon as that happens.
Okay, she is a speaker now.
Okay.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, Shifra. Yes.
I'm with Eddie Mutwe's mother, but she's requesting that she speaks in Luganda.
It's okay.
Tewali
Mama
buzibu,
webale
sawa
nnyo
z'oluzungu
okujja
zawedeko.
webale nnyo okujja ku lukuŋŋaana luno.
Alisibu.
Tunyolwa wamu naawe era bw'olaba abantu abali ku lukuŋŋaana buno bali mu nkumi na nkumi z'abantu abali mu Uganda ne mu nsi endala. Twagala okuwulira kiki kye muyiseemu nga family ya munnaffe mukulu Edward Ssebuufu era nekyoyagala abannayuganda n'abalala batuuliza bategeere ebiruubirirwa byo ngeri gy'olaba embeera gye tulimu ffenna nga bannayuganda naddala mmwe ab'enju ya Ssebuufu Eddie. Maama tukwaniriza, genda mu maaso.
Kale ssebo neyanzizza mwenna abali ku mukutu guno. Okuva Eddie bwe yakwatibwa 27 ewiikisi 2 ng'emabega nali ku kitanda nga ndi mulwadde era nga yanzijanjaba n'abaana bange abamu. Then nali naakamala okutereeramu katono ngenda okuwulira omwana wange omu nankubira essimu ekiro nambuuza, maama oli bulungi? Nze ndi bulungi. Obulwadde buli butya? Nze waliwo eddagala lyenjagala lyessiina. Enkya tujja kujja tuligule. Yali agenda kumbuulira kulaba oba nina kyemmanyi. In fact nali siina kyemmanyi. Kati bwe nakeera ku makya ngenda okuteekako kiti ngenda okugenda ku Facebook nga ndaba Lumbu yayogera agamba Eddie Mutwe yawambiddwa nga ndowooza oba bya bulimba. Nenziramu nensoma ngenda okubikula buli wamu omutima ne gunzigwamu. Nenkubira omwana wange nemugamba Martha, wabadde oyagala kuŋŋamba bya Eddie? Naŋŋamba ye maama, naye nadde saagala kutiisa nga njagala osooke weebaka okere ku makya otegeere nga pressure erinza okulinnya. In fact era yalinnya. Naye tusaba omwami Muhoozi alina omwana wange atuwa omwana waffe. Omwana waffe tumwagala. N'abalala bonna abasibiddwa abatalina musango. Tufune obwenkanya, at least kale amutwale mu kkooti bw'aba alina kye yakola oba omusango gwonna bamuvunaane tumanye nti ali mu kkomera gindi tusobola omulabako. Naye tetumulabako, opositinze ali bwereere, tayambadde kumuswaza mu baana be, n'ensi yonna okumulaba nti Eddie Mutwe afaanana bw'atyo. Omusajja yali alabika obulungi. Era tusaba n'obuwombeefu bungi batuwa omwana waffe. Embeera gye tulimu si nnungi. Abaana jjukira ddaji waabwe yabadde maama ye taata. Yanoonya ekyokulya. Nange nze kennyini mmaze ebbanga kati ewiikisi ziringa 3 sikola. Era yabadde ambeererawo okusinga. Bw'akkubira maama oli otya? Maama kutiti. Maama najja n'akulambula buli lwava okukola. Kati simulabako. Ne weebaka n'obuuza oba alidde oba talidde. Oba bamukuba oba bakola ki. N'abaana tuli wano ffenna tunyolwa. Buli mwana buli lwajja ewaffe n'obatunuulira nga bonna beeyunziseemu. Banange nga sirina kyabbagamba. tunyolerwa wamu ffenna. Gavumenti tusaba ota abaana baffe abazadde tukaaba, sinze nzekka n'abalala waliwo abaafa, waliwo abatamanyiddwa gye bali, abalala bali mu kutulugunyizibwa tebalina misango. Ensi erigamba ety abantu abo abaana baabwe. Abaana b'abantu bano bali kulaba atya ne babagamba nti omulembe guno gwe gwatta kitaawo oba gwe gwatulugunya taataawo oba gwe gwamuggyamu eriiso oba gwe gwamumenya emikono oba amagulu. Tuli tugamba tutya abaana, era abaana bagenda kukula batya nga katulinawo wano abaana eti kale ngezezza ku bange batunula bawulira nga twogera bino bagamba ye omulembe guno gwe gukola gwe gwatulugunya taata waffe n'abaana abalala bwe batyo. Ensi esaasira abantu, tunyolwa tukaaba bata omwana waffe.
Weebale nnyo mami okwogera n'obuvumu obwo. Era byogedde byonna wano tulaba nga abantu bakkaanya naawe. For the benefit of those who are not fluent or conversant with Luganda, there are 5 bullet points that Mr. Eddie Sebufu's mum has made, which is 1, she got the news as she was recovering from an illness and has been disturbed throughout. Her blood pressure shot up, and she's also imploring the authorities, specifically General Muhoozi Kainerugaba, who has openly confessed to detaining Mr. Sebufu in an ungazetted location, to have him arraigned in court if at all there is a charge for which there's any crime for which he is being held. She's also called that for all political detainees or prisoners to be released beyond just the fact of her son. She is distraught about the way in which he has been treated, the humiliating pictures that have been shared, the obvious mistreatment that he's been subjected to. She can't stop thinking about his situation and how he's doing, whether he's eaten, whether he's slept well, and all that. And finally, she notes with grave concern about how these children will grow up in a kind of world that is a complete opposite of what they've otherwise grown up to know. So next, we will hear from Kavuma Jamshid, who's also a previous victim, and I request production to have him up. And in the interest of time, as you make Kavuma Jamshid a speaker, also do that for Judith, Damira's wife. Yes, and then Kasim Sebude's mother will also speak to us before we come to the rest of the audience. So I'm requesting our colleagues in the back room to give the mic to Kavuma Jamshid. Yes, he's requested. His handle is, I believe that's,
At Jamshid Kavuma.
yes,
I've sent him a request. I don't know whether he's seen it.
Jamshid Kavuma. Please accept the request and speak to us. Okay, as Kavuma Jamshid does that, have you also sent a request to Judith?
No, she's not called Judith, but she's my neighbor, so I've sent the request. I think they will get in. It's Muchala Damulira. The husband disappeared in 2020. Up to now, he's never been seen. He was abducted, and she's going to speak through the account of Kakande Chirumira.
Okay, Kakande Chirumira, yes, you have the
So he's already on. I don't know whether I can start.
yes, I can see Kakande Chirumira. I can also see Kavuma Jamshid. Let's hear from Kakande Chirumira, and then we will proceed to hear from Jamshid. Kakande, over to you. Feel free to use, as the previous speaker has, to use a language of your convenience. Go ahead, Kakande. Kakande, over to you.
Kakande, please unmute. I think you're muted.
Okay, he has unmuted. Go ahead.
Okay, now you can speak.
Nange nsangiddwa n'obuzibu bw'okubanga abantu abo batuwambirwa abantu baffe batuwambira abantu baffe naffe tusangiddwa nga naffe tulina obulumi.
Yes, tukuwulira. Genda mu maaso.
Tusangiddwa nga tulina obulumi nga bw'owulya nti obulumi okutuwambiranga abantu baffe ate ne bamala ne babeegaana abantu baffe. Nze mukyala Ddamulira nina obuzibu bwe nasanga okubaleba bwanga bbaawa.
Nyabo tukuwulira, genda mu maaso oyogera ku bawamba bbaawo.
Obuzibu bwange bwe nasanga okubaleba bawamba bbaawange Ddamulya John Esalaama mukyala w'enze njogera naye empise mu bulumi obutajja kugamba nti kino nakiri naye twebuuza abantu baffe bawambanga baaki naye ng'owamba omuntu.
Mama mukyala Ddamulira wali tunyonyodde kyekyaliwo bawe bamusangawo bamutwala ddi n'ebirala.
Mukyala Ddamulya John bamujja wa Kisekka ku dduuka lye ne bamutwala 2022 emyaka 5 gigenda kuwera nga 21 Novemba. Omusajja okuva le bamutwala 2020
so si 2020.
Kati okuba le batwala Ddamulira ogwo omwaka gwe bamutwala mpaka olwaleero tetuddangamu kulaba Ddamulira. Tutuuse mu makooti, tutuuse mu makooti ag'enjawulo, mu makomera batugamba talabikako. Kyokka ate nga Museveni oyo gw'olaba yasoma Ddamulira n'agamba nti amuyina ate bwe yamala yamwegaana ate ne bamala ne bavunika fayiro zaffe batutambuza butambuza tebatubulya mazima g'ekiki ekituufu bakimanyi naye Museveni abantu baffe abatwala wa? Lwaki atubonyaabonya okutuuka ku kino? Musajja n'akuleka ddala otwala omuntu ng'omumanyi tinaye gw'otutte olawuza olumizza bameka? Olumizza famire omuntu omu oyo gw'olaba yeebadde empagi ya famire yonna, abaana be, maama we n'abalala n'embeera gye tuyitamu. Nze mukyala Ddamulira nina embeera gye mpitamu lwakuba nze nawulira nga sikyalina na bigambo bye njagala nakwogera kuba byanzigwako. Naye Museveni twakola ki? Abalala n'ogamba abantu 18 wabeegaana musajja gwe watutambuza paka. Tobayina ate obayina ate sibayina ate biki? Kati tukole ekitutuukirewo okutuuka ku kino. Makomera tebaliiyo ate gwe abatwala abasirikale bwe batwala abantu lwaki temutusaasire ne mutuwa abantu baffe naffe tuba mu nnaku eno. Naye batuuka kubanga abaana bo bakusaba taata wammwe taata kati nafuuka maama ne taata lwaki mbeeramu eyo embeera? Gwe bumanyi kyempitamu naye olw'okuba ofuluma mu nju ne bagamba nti ogenze naye nga nekyogenda okunoonya tokimanyi naye nga abaana bo abamu batudde waka tebasoma ate n'okunanga kyekyo kulwala bikoze bitya? Lwaki Museveni otubonyaabonya? Lwaki totuwa abantu baffe? Musajja gwe tukwegayiridde tukaabye biweddeyo nagasangula naye ngajjako sikyalina gansangula okuleka ggwe ng'okutte ku makya n'ogamba mukazi gwe nkwadde abantu maama w'omusajja oyo Ddamulira yalekera awo okwogera ayogera ekintu kimu. Omwana wange lwaki omukuntusa kweyo embeera? Naawe gwe musajja gwe tozaalanga tolina baana tolina bazzukulu kiki otubonyaabonya okutuuka ku mbeera bw'eti? Musajja gwe Museveni tuyambe tuwa abantu baffe. Naye ng'okimanyi wafukamira ku makya nga maama wakuzaala n'akuteeka ebweru. Kiki kyetwakola ekyo tusaasira? abaana bo ne
Mama.
bakoma ne bakulisaayo kyokka nga bakulisa nakava tekalimu yadde emitwalo ekintu kyesiringi omutwalo ebintu obataddemu omugaati naye gwe musajja gwe tusaasire tukwegayiridde buno obulumi kubanga tulinga abazaala essaawa zino abali mu makomera bate n'abawambibwa bajjeeyo ate era nkwegayiridde abatalina musango bantu bajje mu makomera baleete mu kkooti bawozebwe naye nga mukazi wa ddala ddala yasindika abaana bakuze ne taata naye gwe oyina eddala ddala ekisa musajja gwe kitotusaasira tuyita mu bulumi lwakuba totumanyi bwe tuli bubi kubanga sigwe katonda katonda yateekawo abantu babiri n'agamba nti kibaawukanya kuba kufa naye ate gwe watwawukanya sigwe katonda tetwajja kuteeba nti gwogere twawukanya kuba tutwagattibwa nga tumanyi nti munnange agenze naye n'amala lugambula nina balaga ki n'amala lusigalina nange bwe nalindaga nti gati bwonna mutambuddewo nange nti okunteekawo obumu tulwala tumunyabonyezebwa oye bannange Museveni nkwegayiridde taata tuwa abantu baffe tusaba abali mu makomera munnange bate kale bo babalabako naye nabo bate bajje bawuzibwe niyefe ababuzibwawo emyaka 5 ddala omuntu wa muno
Mama tunyolwa wamu naawe n'abaana bo olw'okubuzibwawo okwa baawo mwami Damulira John era ndowooza abantu bonna bawulidde era tusuubira ne buno obubaka bujja kutuuka ku abo bekikwatako. Again, for the benefit of those who might not comprehend Luganda, this is John Damulira's wife. As you can probably tell, she is disconsolate and she has talked about the situation in which she's going through, including the fact that she is completely, going through indescribable heartache. She has to play the role of mother and father because her husband has been missing for close to 5 years now, having been picked up from his shop in Kampala and has never been seen again. She doesn't know anymore what to say or what answers to give to her children when they ask about their father. She's also said, rather concerningly, that one of her children has been affected by the withdrawal syndrome. That child only speaks a word or two and that's it, and does not talk. This withdrawal having been brought on by the disappearance of the father for close to 5 years now. Next, we have Kavuma Jamshid to share his personal experience as an abductee who was fortunate enough to make it out alive from the dungeons of the torture chambers, such as where Eddie Mutwe is being held. Jamshid, if you are here, please accept the mic and share with us. Jamshid Kavuma. Okay, go ahead. I see you. Please share. And like the others, feel free to speak in a language of your convenience.
Okay. Bannange oba mumpulira.
Stebo tukuwulira genda mu maaso tukulya bulungi nnyo.
Tukuwulira ssebo.
Genda mu maaso ssebo tukuwulira.
Network entawaanya. Bannange neyanziza omukisa guno okunteekako wano sijja kwogera Luzungu kuba erinnyo linnuma liyinza okugira. So kanjogere mu Luganda lwentegeero.
Oh dear. We have a challenge with Jamshid because he keeps coming on and going off. So I will line up as we wait for him to sort that glitch out. I will now ask Ajmaru, who is with the mother of Kasim Sepude, who was arrested alongside Eddie Mutwe. So Ajmaru, if you are here, to my co-host, Dr. Nalukwago. Do you?
I've tried to look for his hand, or I can't see it.
Okay. In that case,
I've looked for Jamal's hand, I can't see it. So I think probably if he's on, he can send a request, then I let him
yeah,
speak.
Ajmaru, if you are here, please send a request to speak, and you will be allowed to do so. Okay. While we wait for Ajmaru to share, because those two will be the last people to speak before we hear from the audience, members of the audience. And as we get ready to do that, production is already okay. Kavuma, you are here. Katusaba oyitemu bwangu otuuse obubaka.
ennaku
Oh dear. Okay. For Jamshid, just so that his story is not lost in the weeds of this network challenge, I will request Benjamin, if he's still here, to share Jamshid's audio in a minute, so that we afford him the audience that he deserves, and then we will open the floor to the audience to share. Benjamin, if you may.
He seems muted.
Yeah, Benjamin, if you're speaking, you are muted.
Yes.
Please.
Yes, Andrew.
Yeah, we have Jamshid is having network connection issues. So as counsel, who I'm sure have handled this file amongst the numerous others that you've handled, you could give us a brief on Jamshid's ordeal. Thank you.
Yeah. Jamshid was brutally arrested and in fact shot in the leg at the time of arrest. He was held incommunicado for a number of days. Jamshid was brutally arrested and in fact shot in the leg at the time of arrest. He was held incommunicado at the time of arrest, and we applied for habeas corpus, but when the state was served, they produced him in court and charged him with malicious damage to the vehicle that the security personnel who came to arrest him were moving in. And the question, of course, was before the arrest, which offense had he committed? Because the offense with which he was charged, the allegation was that he committed it at the time they were trying to arrest him. Eventually, they did not pursue the case like it has been with the rest. And to give this proper context is that most of our people, most of our colleagues have been arrested on trumped-up charges. They are held for a number of days, eventually produced in court sometimes. And when they get bail, the matter never comes up for trial. 2 years down the road, 3 years down the road. Why? Because the state has no evidence and they are just holding them on trumped-up charges, basically for purposes of persecuting them. And Kavuma Jamshid's case is one of such cases of fabricated charges.
Sure. Thank you so much for that brief. Were we able to get the final speaker on the panel so that he can share as well? Kasim Sebude's mother, who is with Ajmaru. If you are here, please either request and then we can hear from you and move to the audience. We will select speakers, but before we do that, please note that you have exactly a minute. We have, yes, please, my colleague in production, go ahead.
No,
I
have we
cannot
opened?
see Jamal's.
Yes, the producer. What?
Oh, sorry, I was just saying I cannot see the. Oh, I was saying I cannot see the hand. Also, I think we can go to the audience because I can't find the hand of Ajmal. I failed to get it, and he's also not sending a request. So to communicate with him.
Okay, this space has 7,507 people right now. My colleague, my co-host, will choose speakers from the audience, and I invite her to do so. But before that, I see a hand from our colleague in the back room. You have something to say?
No, you've opened up to the public, so I had a couple of questions. I don't know if I can go first for the 1 minute.
Or that were written to you, or your own questions?
My own questions.
Okay, great. Since you are in production, we will hear from you. Let's first have the rest of the audience share, and then we will come to you in production.
Thank
I
you.
hope that's
All right.
fine. Okay. Dr. Judith
Yes,
Nalukwago, please choose speakers. Sasi, you're saying something?
yeah. I was saying I'm seeing Jamshid back online. I know he has just disappeared, but he had briefly returned online. I also wanted to supplement on what Council Katana was saying earlier. Jamshid, for many who don't know, was actually at the scene when they were abducting Edim last Sunday, and he was. I thought he was going to come and give us a brief of what transpired that fateful evening. He might have given us a description of some of the faces that he saw, and one of those faces is a bulky gentleman. No offense meant. Is one of the bulky gentlemen that keeps following our president everywhere he goes, at home, at the headquarters in Kavule, and literally everywhere. So it's quite unfortunate that Jamshid is not here, but let me see if I can reach out to him, see what the issue is.
Actually, if it helps, I was just talking to Jamshid a while ago, and I could call him and ask him to speak through my phone, so he can be able to communicate with the rest of the masses here.
Sure, please.
Okay, allow me just a minute.
Okay, as
we proceed.
okay, as Dr. Nalukwago lines up her choice of speakers, we have allocated 20 minutes to this slot, and if all of us stick to the 1 minute rule, we will be able to put in as many people, probably even more than 20, since we're using a minute each. Honorable Chagulanyi, is Jamshid ready to talk?
And
Yes.
Jamshid now.
Okay, go ahead.
Yes. Jamshid kwoli ku line. Era bayiriza bulungi nnyo ssebo.
Kale kangende maaso. Bannange baganda bange mwenna abali wano mwebale kubeerawo, mwebale kukuŋŋaana mu bungi w'emuti ku nsonga y'abaganda baffe abawambibwa ne muganda waffe Edi Mutwe, kuba eno ensonga ewomeddwamu omutwe nga ya Edi Mutwe neyini. Kasooke ndowooza ntandikire ku nsonga zange nga nze we nawambibwa ennaku z'omwezi nga 5 Ogw'Okumu 2022. Nasangibwa Masanafu ku kifo bakiyita Gladiator Paradise. Abasajja we banzija najjira mu drone yali taxi, wabula ffe twali tumanyi nti taxi eya bulijjo ng'erimu ebikuubo bya taxi byennyini ng'eriko n'akatanda waggulu. Kati abasajja abo we bajja okumpamba, like nagezaako okudduka, kati bwe nali nziruka ne bamukuba essasi mu kugulu. Baali baagala kummenya kugulu, wabula okugulu tebaakola ki, tebaakumenya. So bwe baamala okunkuba essasi ne bansika ne banteeka mu drone, omusaayi nga guyiika mungi, nga bansibye empingu ne baŋŋamba nti nyambulemu essaati ng'olwedde ndi ku mpingu nga ndi ku handicrafts, nziggyemu essaati ate gye mbansiba ku kugulu. Kati nga neebuuza essaati ngenda giggyamu ntya ng'ate olwedde ndi ku mpingu ndyoka ate ngisibe ku kugulu. Waliwo awo omu n'asumulula empingu nenzigyamu essaati nengisiba ku kugulu omusaayi guleme kuyiika mungi. So awo ne batubeezaawo waliwo ne bannange be bantwala nabo balinga basatu ati batuvuga mu drone ekiro ekyo tegeera na gye tulaga naye wabula we twali tugenda buli we twali tugenda tuyimirira to cut the story short nga bantuusa ku Ssemwayi Embuya wadde nali simanyiyo obudde obwo wabula we bantwalayo ne banteeka mu godown wansi eyo we banteeka mu godown okirira amadaala bw'oti eno waggulu omuntu akuumayo aba n'emmundu ng'agitunuzza wansi kati mu godown bw'oba okkirira kuliko akuuma bwe kati kaliko empingu zisimbye layini kati ez'empingu abantu abasinga like we bakutuusa ng'oli mulamu nga tolinga nze abakubiddwa essasi mu kugulu oba ng'osobola okuyimirira obulungi basobola okusiba ku mpingu ezo n'obeerako ennaku nga 3 emisana n'ekiro we kuba kufuka ofuka awo ebbaketi bagikuleetera awo ofuka okulya emmere ogiriisa mimwa esiwaani bagikwata bukwasi n'oliisa emimwa ng'oli ku mpingu waggulu ne kakati baŋŋamba waliwo n'omuntu omu eyafiirako kweza empingo kati nga bannyingiza eyo munda mu basement bwe nayingira mu basement eyo mu godown waliyo abasibe bo gye bali bangi naye mainly kye nasinga okulaba waliyo abasiraamu bo bangi bulala oyinza okugamba eri muzikiti eno gavumenti simanyi lwaki ewalana nnyo abasiraamu ewala n'obusiraamu ndowooza n'abaganda mwe babatwalira kubanga ate oba musiraamu ng'oli muganda kisukka kuba nali ndi awo nga naakamalayo ndowooza ennaku nga 3 ne wabaawo omusiraamu akolera awo Katwe ku ttaawo awo eryo ettaawo eryo eri wansi abantu gye batera okuyita yali atundira awo obuntu buno bucakala nga mutembeeyi ne bamuleeta nga talina musango gwonna nga kati bamutuusa eri bamubuuza ebibuuzo nga buli kye bamubuuza takimanyi nga bamugamba muyeekera baakuba musiraamu emiggo mbigere yagenda okudda nga takyasobola kulinnya nga yeekulula bwekuluzi ng'atambuza kabini bali bakuba kubanga ate bakyusaamu mu nkuba tebakyakuba bino bye mulaba ng'ebyakakwensa bye baamukuba kubanga bwe bakuba ebintu ng'ebyo baba bakutereka obeereyo ebbanga paka lw'obeera ng'atereddemu kubanga nange banteeka mu Ssemwayi naye nga babataddeko akazito kangi nga bawulira baagala okunta okunzijayo naye nga baŋŋamba weerwaneko okugulu okwo ekiwundu ekyo kikole kiwone tebaagala kuleeta muntu yenna ng'aliko ki obuvune okumuta okumutisa ebweru so nga mbeera eyo bwe bannangira bye basinga okukozesa bye bakubisa bakugamba gwe kaakati oli wano mugamba mulwanirira ggwanga gwe mulwanirira ali eri n'abaana be beeyagala olwo nga bagamba pulezidenti kati ate olumala nga bagamba nti oyo gwe mulwanirira ali kimu naffe kati n'obabuuza nti ate waaba kimu nammwe bw'aba ali nammwe nga mukola naye lwaki mubeera ate ffe mutukwata ffe abaagala kyali wammwe kyemugamba kyali wammwe temumwagaliza kubeera bulungi kubanga kyali wammwe kuba ffe we tumubaako tuba tulina omumuvimbisa era tumwagale nga bwe mwalikoze eki bwe mwali kyagadde kitegeeza we twagala kyali wammwe nammwe tuba tukoze eki tuba tubaagadde naye munnange ng'ekyo emiggo giba givuga eri bakkuba emiggo wabaawo ejja breakfast lunch ne sapa buli omu obudde bwe bwakubirwako emiggo era omuggo gunyooka ku Ssemwayi eyo era bwe nalabye ekifaananyi kya Eddie Mutwe nga kifulumye nalabye yenna nga bamukubye yenna awulubadde simanyi oba bamukubisizza biki kuba eyo feesi ya Eddie Mutwe tefaanana bwetyo oli muganda wange mumanyi naye bamugyeyo yenna awulubadde bw'ati ne mmanya kati ekiri eyo si kyangu twongere kumusabira twongere n'okusabira abalala abali mu Ssemwayi eyo nga naye ekiriyo si kirungi n'akamu ekibeera eyo abasajja batulugunya ebyaddala siriyasi.
Maybe Jamshid wandyagadde oba paintingira ku kifaananyi ku nkwata Eddie Mutwe gye baamukwata engeri gye waliwo. Apologies, moderator.
That's fine, honorable. Go, Jamshid genda maaso tubuulire kuba waliwo nga bakwata nga bawamba Eddie Mutwe.